And there we are. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi all, good evening, good afternoon.
So, hello, everyone. Hello, Substack. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Quite a lot of people there today. Hello, everyone. Good. We have an interesting topic today. We want to talk about authenticity. I really have problems spelling that term, right? But anyway, it's a very important. It is very,
but it's hard to spell.
it is hard to spell, and it is very authentic right now to spell it like that. If you're right, there is no grammar correction when spelling it with your own. So just as a little heads up, so everyone who is listening to that one, of course, you can ask questions to any time on all platforms. We see all chats. Hopefully we see them, but no, we do. And then we basically get to the questions. And if you have any statements, if you disagree with things, feel free to disagree. And we will talk about that as well. So that shall be an open discussion. It is a weekly discussion we do. This is Kai Kisabert and me, Adrian Stanek, and we are both leaders. He's basic, or you can maybe a little bit of introduction in a second. But so we were both leaders. We are both coaching leaders and helping them as fellows and mentors. And we see a lot of things going on. We see a lot of, common things. So even though he, for example, isn't in the tech space, I'm in the tech space. But, there is so much common ground, so many common denominators that leadership itself is not really like a specific tech leadership thing or a sport leadership thing or something like that. Leadership is very agnostic. It is very foundational. It is what happens between you and other people. And this is why that fireside chat is so important for us to do, because we really love to talk about these kind of things. So I don't want to bore you with stuff. I have to say, so Kai, give us a little bit of an introduction in some sentences, who you are, what your story is, and why you're here.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Again, hi all who joined in this afternoon. So I'm Kai. I'm 53 years old, and I basically, education-wise, I'm a mechanical engineer, and my background was in automotive engineering. But I was very fast coming into leadership positions, project lead, branch lead, and then also managing director. Did this for nearly 20 years. And in 23, I decided to do something different, and I founded my own company, Akquise.co GmbH, and I have basically two pillars. It's a technical pillar. I'm collaborating with innovative startups in the tech, not software, but in mechanical tech or vehicle development or whatever. And second pillar is I'm doing leadership development. I'm working together with entrepreneurs and developing with them a personal system to make them strong in decisions, make them resilient, and also starting with self-leadership and also with, the normal tools which concern leadership. And I founded my system, the Inner Architecture, theinnerarchitecture.com. You find more about it. And it's based on my experience. It's not read from one book and copied and pasted, but I know what works, what did not work. I often had a bloody nose because I tried something which worked out that it didn't work. And so I try to help as many people as possible to avoid these bloody nose.
There is some truth to it. So, the bloody nose, if you try to do the things yourself, especially when you're thinking of leadership. So first of all, leadership always starts with yourself. So that's the self-leadership aspect. And when you want to go into any form of role, if you want to go up higher the ladder, the higher you get, the more senior you get, the more time you need to spend into understanding who you are, what your role is and what your relationship is to other people. So as a junior person, no matter in which area, you are mostly focused on get into work. So, it's like, how do I do my stuff practically? So how can I become as fast as possible worth the money which others spend in order to get me and sustain me as an employee in a company? But the higher you get, the more you're responsible you have. So even though you don't have a management role, you might have a senior role, a staff engineer role, a principal engineer role. All those roles are, in fact, leadership roles. And at some point in time, so my personal definition of a senior engineer, for example, in the engineering space, is that you are a cornerstone of the team. So you are not longer taking something from the team, you're giving back to the team. So that includes as well all aspects of leadership. So even though you don't have the role of a manager, but you still have to, you have to be a role model. You have to be credible. You need to be able to be challenged and challenge others. And you need to have a vision of yourself. So, a mission, vision, a feeling for that. So if you implement things, if you do it the right way, if you think of, hey, how can we align that with the product? I'm here for 20 years now. So if I see that younger people just working something, I need to intervene in that moment. That intervention, I don't mean like an aggressive intervention. I mean like I need to speak up, I need to help, I need to influence my team. That is what the first real step of leadership outside of the self-leadership actually is. So the step when you are a controlled person, you can control yourself, you have discipline, and then you actually start to influence others. So in the Stoic sense, this is one of the core principles. And that's one of the aspects which I think is very important to understand. So that's a very, very important thing. And Bloody Nose is, you can try these kind of things yourself. You can try to get into seniority just by yourself, into a management role. But I see that often with CTO. So CTO is my specialty. I was CTO myself for 18 years. So I know how let's say the pressure is. So you are suddenly not a software engineer anymore. You are suddenly a business person, even though you don't realize it. But things change. There's more pressure. You have this several weeks of, there's this state of, everyone is forgiving you for things you maybe make wrong. It's a little bit like this trial time. But if that trial is over, everything hits you. Everything what your predecessor might have done, all the things you haven't caused even are now your problem and your credibility. And suddenly things hit you very hard, right? And in my opinion, you should be prepared before you go into a leadership role. And I don't mean that you need to know everything which you need to do, but you need to be prepared in terms of, can I do self-discipline? So do I actually have discipline? Can I reflect on my day? What happened? Am I just angry at people if things don't go my way, even though I'm the manager now, right? These kind of aspects are extremely important to master before you get into the role. And this is the reason I think mentoring and fellowships, these kind of things, asking the right questions, right, is every day is a crucial thing to do. And I think that's one of the reasons from the other perspective, while we're doing that chat here, while we're getting together and talking about these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So from my experience, the first thing is, if somebody gets a leadership role, he has to be a little bit, let's say, call it mature. Doesn't depend on age. It's just the matureness of the character, of the identity. And I think one absolute basic thing is, many people expect when I come to a leadership position, I can put my feet on the desk and wait for my slaves to work and deliver the results. And if something good happens, then I'm the king. And if a mistake happens, then these guys went wrong, or it's their fault. And it's completely vice versa. So if your team wins achieves a milestone or whatever, then it's the team's work or the team's benefit. And if something happens, you have to take the responsibility as a leader if you are doing it right. And I think this is one of the basic topics, and this is also I think one of the big tests for authenticity, because taking care of your team is very easily spoken, but if you have to act like it, especially in hard times or when something happens which went wrong, customer complains because somebody sent out a wrong version of anything or didn't deliver in time or whatever. If you take the responsibility for that, this is where you can grow, not only personal, but also in the in your ranking, what your team estimates you. Because if you are standing in front of them and say, it was my fault, I will take care of it, then it's completely different than pointing with the finger on the one in the org chart most below or whatever. So
when is the moment when you actually say that, or not what is the moment, that's nonsense. So you mentioned now it starts authenticity. Yeah. How authentic do you need to be in order to achieve that? So imagine, let's quickly try to define authenticity in terms of leadership. So what does it actually mean, and what should it be? So what should be the quality baseline of that, in your opinion? What's your, as a CEO, what's your opinion?
I think you have to be authentic with your true will to connect to the people you are leading, to establish let's say a real connection to the people, which also means that you have to bring a kind of trust or a portion of trust to them in advance, and not waiting that they trust you, because you have to earn it before you get the trust. You have to be aware that you are also, as a team lead, you are serving the team and not only collecting the results. And talking more detailed about authenticity is the more you implement this identity as a true leader, so taking care of the human beings I'm allowed to lead, or I'm honored to lead, and also serving the team. The more you think about it, the easier it's to be authentic in that. So if you are completely thinking different and say, these dumbasses have to deliver, and I'm collecting all the money, then it's hard to be a true leader, and you can't be authentic. You can play a role, but from my experience, the more stressful and dynamic the situations are, the harder it's to play a role. It's the masks are falling down then.
Well, how real should you be? So being real is one thing. So we had that in the pre-discussion, right? So when you are a leader, you have a personality. You have a private personality and you have a professional personality, right? So I know very interesting people who are extremely cold and professional in the office, and when you see them outside of the office, they are always drunk on a party. It's a little bit like a day and night version of the people. It's a little bit like they pull a switch up, and suddenly they're a different person. Where's the line? Where do you think is the fine line what people would expect from authenticity and what's actually not. So should we be very ourselves, like we are at home with our spouse or something like that, with our friends? Who should we be in order to get that done? To, you said that, be the role model, take the responsibility, because that's requires trust as well. You cannot just do that by going in and expect that trust from others. As you said, you can't basically say you need to do that. You need to earn that trust in order to get that. But how do we do that with the right amount of authenticity? I even can spell that word. Good. Okay.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's. I think you have to find, or everybody has to find his way how to do it. So my personal advice is not being completely the same person than at home, because it's a business and a private life or whatever. So I think it's good to share some insights from your, let's say, private life or personal life, also in the business context, because it makes you more close to the people, more natural, and not only C-level guy who puts his tie on and is completely stiff and talking only business language, so talking 1 hour and nobody understands the sense. But I think you have to find what you are willing to put on the table of your private life, when it comes to hobbies or family status, talking about your children, or if you have some pets or whatever. And but also there, be authentic. And if I think the worst thing is if you, for example, you have a guy in the team who is a soccer enthusiast, and you come on Monday and say, "Whoa, what a great game on Saturday," and he sees it completely different because he knows the game and you are not in soccer. Then it's just pain in the ass for you. And so I think you should always be honest and true about what you are putting on the table, but you don't have to put everything on the table of all your facets you have in your life.
I mean, it's a little bit self-explaining in a way, but many people struggle to drop that mask at all. So I think that's when you just take a look, especially into the corporate sector. So I am not based in the corporate sector, but I'm working heavily with them, which means that I, on a very regular basis, join meetings where from corporations, unit leaders, directors join with employees of all kind. And there is a stiffness, there's a rigidity there. There is a little bit like you join this meeting and you really hope that you are not 3 minutes early. And you are not the first and not the last one. The last one is okay, but not the first one. Because then everyone is dribbling in, staring at you, and you stare back and you don't know what to say. It's a little bit like, it's this awkward situation. And you know that everyone is very distanced. So maybe that's a German problem, but maybe if someone is listening to that and have an idea about that, if that's just something special to me or my environments or companies I work with, but it's basically everybody the same. So it's a little bit like no one is talking, no one is saying something until the actual highest ranking person is there of their union or something like that, and then they wait until they say something, and then when they say something funny, they laugh with them or they agree to them. But it's a little bit like you don't want to start the conversation. And that's a sign that there is ice. You need to break the ice in order to get somewhere. And I would say that there is a lack of authenticity there, because people adopted that habits or developed that habits in the work culture or working culture. So they might maybe have their direct peers they are very open with, but as soon as it leaves the own department, own unit, own team, whatsoever, it's like those boundaries, and you leave them, then suddenly things get more anonymized, so a little bit like more distanced. And I think that's an issue in the leadership aspects. I saw that with American companies, or US companies in particular. When you work with them, they have a very flat hierarchy. So the power distance index is very low there. So there's between the boss and between the employees. So oftentimes you don't really have that idea of a boss there. And here in Europe, it's very different. You have a very high power index, and that's oftentimes, I would say, a problem of authenticity. So people aren't really authentic. They don't want to be. They want to have this mask in order to protect them. Have you seen something similar, or is that something totally off, and have you a different experience there?
No, absolutely. So I think in the 2010 years, where online meetings weren't so common like today, when you entered the meeting room, it was when you entered physically a meeting room, it was more let's say natural, that you are talking to somebody. So often you meet 3 minutes before at a coffee machine, you grab a coffee, you're talking about something, doing a small talk, or also talking about some topics business-wise, entering the room and not stopping with these chat when you cross the door to the meeting room. I think in online meetings, it's more complicated to establish a kind of a small talk. If not anyone is feeling that he has to moderate it. I experienced in US companies where I was part of a leadership team in interim jobs. There was another or a different mood. So in the beginning, the CEO was asking everybody, "How are you?" And he didn't ask this for business topics. So he didn't want to hear, "Yeah, I'm fulfilling my milestones," or whatever. So, but how are you? So it was a completely different mood to a German dominated board meeting. And everybody was cheering each other, even if somebody said, I managed to get out of the bed in time this morning, and everybody, great achievement and well done. And in Germany, if you are asking somebody before a meeting or in a gremium, a committee, where maybe there are sitting 5 people, and you ask somebody, how are you? Are you relaxed? Did you sleep well? How are the kids? So it's, I have to take care of what I'm saying now. So
why is he asking these things?
Yeah. It's I don't know the exact translation, but this German word, Dienst ist Dienst and Schnaps is Schnaps. So business is business, and
separate business from personal life.
And this maybe explains what you mentioned. This stiff guy, no smile in business, but drunk at each party, and this is the going life of this word.
So when I see myself is a journey now. So I am now I'm 42 years. I think I'm 41 or 42. I don't really count that, so I mismatched that. My wife is a little bit older than me.
Question is, how often have you turned 41?
I don't know. So so I'm definitely now more than 24, 25 years in business. Yeah. So when I started, it was very stiff, very rigid everywhere. So we have in Germany, even though another form of how we speak up to people. So we don't simply say you, we basically use a more formal version. The English don't really use anymore. It was more like you did that in the medieval age if you speak to a king. This is how you speak to anyone else, especially, but it's definitely to your superiors. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like a form of respect you need to do. That is how I grew up as a as a Gen X, as a Xennial. I'm actually a Xennial. I grew up as by living to that standards and not greeting like this or not speaking like this. You would get into trouble. People would point you out in public to be disrespectful to a person. And today it's a little bit like when you talk with Germans or Germans, Austrians, Switzers, Germans, then the first message is happy to use you as a, in quote, you, so do, right? They happy to use that. So, and you agree, yeah, it's a little bit like, why do we even need to do that today? Because we have now more than 2 decades later, it should already be vanished, but it isn't. So there is still this in society that barrier. And when you have that barrier, you cannot be authentic at all. It's not possible. You cannot be authentic if you talk to someone in that way. So 200 years ago, people were speaking like that to their father and mother. It was totally nuts here. Really, it's not the greatest thing. And I think that, so for my own journey, it's like every year it dropped a little bit. And today it's a little bit like, if you would get to me and using the formal version, I would block you. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to talk to you anymore because that is not part of my mindset. I really mean that. I don't make business with people like that. And of course, in larger companies, I really say that let's keep it with that one. Okay, but if on LinkedIn, for example, if another coach or something like that is approaching me and like that, I'm thinking like, what the hell? Like, no, don't do that. That's because you want to either talk to me or you want to have a mask. It's a little bit like the salute, the medieval salute. It's like this pulling the helmet visor up, right? That was the salute, right? And you basically don't do that in the moment. You literally say, keep distance, 1 arm length of distance. And I don't like that anymore. Today, it's a little bit like I want to have the barriers removed, not too close, of course, but because there are limits. It's like your very, very, very personal things, maybe your very, very, very personal problems, they're not part of the team's life. Mm-hmm. But you should be like you are without projecting any form of mask. That is, I think, a good way of how I would decide authenticity is like, be like you are, like your DNA is, like you would act, right? In a professional sense, of course, but in a way that you could say that, okay, that is how I would deal with it. Mm-hmm. You are honest about how you think. You don't lie in that moment. And if there is something where you think, I need to disagree with, you do that. So many people don't disagree. And that was especially common when I worked with US people. It's like everyone was so polite that they wouldn't dare to say out loud that they are totally against what you say. So you ask, is everything fine? Yeah, everything is fine. Oh, by the way, you're fired. And that's a little bit like the contrast from black to white in just one sentence, just a comma in between, and that's it. It's too harsh. That's not what authentic. That's strange. That's another weird aspect of that culture. We don't have that here. That's the interesting part. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff we don't have here. Mm-hmm. And but all in all, the common denominator is to try. I think you can do this everywhere. Is to really stand firm to who you are. So I am a stoic person. I practice stoicism actively, which means that I control myself. I live up to virtues, right? I define for myself. Honesty is one of them, right? So basic virtue, be an honest person, be how you think you are, and live with the consequences, which means that it's not like I have Tourette or something like that. So when I think of what's that for a person, I don't say it out loud. This is not what I mean. But I really mean like in a conversation, in a dialogue, right? I'm talking to people, and I'm in a conversation. I respond in a way where I think that is a genuine, honest answer. And if I disagree with you, I say that I disagree with you, but not in the tone like I don't like you. No emotions. It's a clear message. I disagree. What is your opinion about that? And I think that this is a very important aspect. So it became easy for me when I started with self-discipline and self-control to actually act more authentic, because authenticity is often related in our minds to fear, anxieties, and blockades, hurdles. So we block ourselves to be like that because we have an emotion, and we like a fear. We don't want to disagree. We don't want to tell the truth. We don't want to give honest feedback about the work of someone else, even though it would improve the outcome. But we don't do that because we don't want to have a problem with that person, because we know that person is emotional. And we will be emotional afterwards. That's all the mentoring calls I get from people. It's like, I got home. I really need to talk. Do you have a minute? Can we have a phone call? And out of so basically an ad hoc one, impromptu one, where people really ask like, hey, I need to talk. I can't stop thinking about that. I gave that and this, or they told me that, and I don't know how to react. I said yes, even though I was thinking no, and now I need to do this. I'm totally stressed out. These kind of things. How do you think, regarding anxiety? So removing the emotions. What is your idea about that? How have you treated it for yourself and with your coachees to actually maintain that authenticity? It's about maintenance. So how can we run a sustainable leadership life while we are authentic and not breaking down, right?
Yeah. So first of all, it's absolutely legit, and I think it's also crucial for leader that he also has the right to tell his team that he's not in a good mood today, because you don't have to explain, but it's better. So if you're in a bad mood, if you're feeling emotional or whatever, it's better to tell it to your team. Otherwise, they will experience it, they will feel it, they feel the vibes, and then they start thinking, oh, did I do something wrong? And am I the reason why my boss is so emotional at the moment? And most times it's completely something different. Maybe there was heavy traffic or trouble at home or with somebody or whatever. And so it's better to say, today be a little bit cautious. I'm not in the best mood today, and then it's fine. I think it's important to say or to stand your ground and to stick to your opinion. And it's a difference if you're saying or disagreeing constructively, and then it's just let's say more or less objective perspective of yourself that you're bringing to the table. And maybe it's just opening the eyes of your counterpart, and he said, okay, I've never seen it from this perspective, but that's right. And maybe the truth is between these two perspectives. And never be emotional in that way that you are shouting to the people, or just being rude or unpolite. So you should keep that as a principle, and but standing your ground, and also criticizing somebody is also part of leading. So if somebody did a mistake, you have to talk to him about this mistake, because otherwise you don't give him the chance to recognize it, and also you don't give him the chance to improve it for the next time.
Yeah, I think that that amount of honesty should be there. So, do you really care for other people or not? Do you care that others become better, even better as you would be? In the tech space, I see that very often, that you have a team where a senior engineer is and a lot of intermediate or junior developers. That's very often the case. I don't really mean that's reality. And that senior is often a blocking person. I think that's one of the most talked about things with team leads or CTOs, that they say that I have this one person in my team who is not a manager, but more dominant than my managers are, engineering managers or team leads or something like that. It's a little bit like there's a tech book called the Phoenix Project, and there's a character called Brent, and this is the character who's absolute necessary for everything, right? It's like this is the go-to person, in a sense that you cannot really live without that person, right? But in addition to that, that person is very dominant as well. So it's a little bit like you are going into a meeting and you see that specific person is waiting, not saying anything oftentimes, and people are waiting until that person says something. It's a little bit like leadership person is asking, or manager is asking, like, what do you think about that approach? Everyone is silent. People are a little looking towards that person. And when that person said something, they all agree with that. It's a little bit like that kind of situation. And I think that we should be aware of that as leaders, that we should be willing to let others become better than we are ourselves right now. So it's the same idea as good parents, in my opinion, the very same thing. And when you have that, getting, now connecting that back to the original idea, is that if you do that, you create a form of trust that people genuinely believe that you believe, first of all, in them, that you want to improve them, and that what you say is something worth following. Because leadership is about leading and following. And people follow you until they become leader themselves. In some point, everyone is a leader, of course, to some degree, right? But, we're talking about business here. There you have effective roles there right now. But it always makes sense that everyone is trying to become better as a team, because that makes the outcome better. And as leaders should foster that, not block that. And I think when you have blockers like that, the dominant kind of person in that team, that alpha engineer, I'm calling alpha engineers, that is a sign that you have never lived that kind of culture. That's a cultural problem. And you have never cultivated the culture where this is normal to have trust. So I think one of the reasons is for lack of authenticity is that you always felt as an individual contributor or an employee that it's not the right thing to do. So it's not the right thing to act like this. So better have a mask up and wait for when these other persons have something to say. And if you would have a leader, so imagine you join a team of 5 people, and those 5 people are already thinking very positively. You have a leadership person who really encourages everyone to do more, to try out new things, to speak up when they disagree with things, to really make that their own shared agenda, not just your external agenda from top down. you join such a team as a new person, and you suddenly adopt something and say, yeah, that's great. That makes sense as a human to be in that kind of environment. And having that early on, removes so many problems. I think 50% or more of all problems I have ever encountered in companies where I should or was supposed to help, that was one of the reasons, a bad culture. So I am gone. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
I'm Elgato. Hello, everyone. What's up with my camera? I think I have somehow plugged in the wrong cable and my camera is not charging. Wait a second.
Okay.
I was playing around with multiple adapters.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
And that's exactly the situation. You need this guy who knows everything, this alpha engineer. He could tell you which.
He could tell you what to do now. I don't know what that was.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, battery was low. So I basically plugged in a cable which isn't plugged to any power source. Okay, I'm a problem. Okay, so I'm back. I actually totally forgot where I ended, but I just passed the word to you now. It makes sense in a professional way to now just give to you.
Yeah, it's waiting for this alpha wolf giving his opinion, and everybody is sharing his opinion. This is not the right kind to lead a discussion in the team, because in best case, should be the normal case. Every team member has a contribution to the effort of the team, or to the success of the team. And if everybody's just looking to this old experienced guy, this mature guy who knows everything, you don't have the chance to grow. Yeah, just imagine what happens if this guy breaks a bone and don't know.
He breaks a bone and
yeah, and is off for a few weeks. So what happens? Is there any movement, or I just had a black screen. This was the reason why I was struggling. And so similar to this, but this situation, does anybody see then the light at the end of the tunnel? Does anybody have the guts to take the ownership and say, okay, we go it like this way, or whatever? And yeah, so not only in leadership but also in management, the worst decision is the decision you don't decide, because then you don't have any movement. You are just waiting and waiting.
Dilemma.
And you can't achieve anything in waiting. And yeah, so it's not good for the personal development of the team members, and it's also not good for the team culture or the team spirit, if everybody's just watching the alpha engineer, if he agrees on it or disagrees. And I'm not talking about having a person with big experience and taking care of his opinion. That's completely different.
I just need to drop a link, but now I'm back. Okay. So I like the aspect of dilemma, so I want to pick up the dilemma idea here. I think dilemma is very connected to the idea of the mask you wear. It's like the dilemma is a situation in where you have at least two choices to make, but you don't do it. You're just stuck. It's a stuck moment. And why you are stuck is the reason for that is mostly being afraid to make a move. It's anxiety, it's fear. You have to know this is a weakness. It's definitely a weakness, and it leads to unhappiness. So when we compare that now to authenticity and wearing a mask and not being yourself, it is the very same thing. You avoid to actually make a decision to either be yourself or another person, because as long as you wear a mask, you are not yourself. So you don't really decide for the other, for the one thing, because you cannot decide to be another person because you are not another person, you are yourself. And on the other way, you don't really decide to go to be you. On some occasions you are you, but then not again. And that is a form of being stuck as well. It's based on the same reasons, fear and anxiety, and people feel that, which means that you lose confidence in your person you are supposed to follow, right? You know, trust in that this person is able and capable of leading their own people onto a journey for the mission of the company. And sounds a little bit like a storytelling thing right now, which is actually is. But if you are not able to do that, I'm having that with multiple CTOs right now as well, who struggle most with actually the storytelling aspects. So they hide themselves in one-on-one meetings because why? This is the same aspect again. You hide yourself in meetings where you can isolate people, talk to them, and try to steer the wheel by steering, like a master of puppets. You have the strings for everyone. And that you think that's the great idea to get everyone, but the idea is to lead people. The idea is to be visible, right? And that the people can see you and say as a group, but that's the person I want to follow, right? Worth following. That's the idea. And for that, you need to drop the mask. And for that, you need to make decisions. If people see you don't make decisions, you don't move forward, you don't even show who you are, then why should I follow you on the decision you make as a business person, as a leadership person? Why should I? I don't trust you, you don't progress. People understand between the lines, subconsciously, these kind of things. They understand confidence in a way like humans understand that for thousands and thousands and thousands of years already. That is something even just in the Stone Age already happened, right? It is nothing new. That's not a specific skill in modern age or something like that, which is a hidden secret in some management books. That is very, very, very basic common relationship between humans. And dropping your mask to the point that people can see you, salute, right? And people can work with you in a way that they don't feel awkward about. Like, as I said in the beginning, the formal way of treating people. I think informal is much easier in that case to really build up trust. And everybody is working like this. You create a culture where when newer people join, they don't even realize that there is an issue. And that should be the goal. You should join a team and say, yeah, I want to work here. That is the ideal thing. We have Monday. It's not a pain for me to go to work. It's not like I need a dopamine kick because it's Monday morning. That's unrealistic. Most people won't have that because Sunday was actually quite fine with the family and these kind of things. But it is not a bad thing that we have Monday again. That topic is very related to what we talk about today because it all stands and falls with the leadership. If you don't have leadership at all in the company, there's something wrong. If you have too much management, too many boss type of persons, alpha persons, there is something severely wrong in the other direction. So you need to have something, because not everyone in a team of 10, 20, 30, 100 people is willing to lead their own person towards the company goals just by themselves. No one is doing that. No one, but most people are not doing that. And therefore, we have leadership people who taking that role and helping to being facilitator for people, to being people who foster an environment where people can do their contributions for a journey or on their journey to a mission, to a shared mission, having a shared agenda. And I think dropping the mask and removing barriers, to remove anxiety to speak to each other, is a core principle which I personally rarely see in companies. You have that sometimes in smaller teams, but not on a larger scale. I simply don't see that. Do you see that? So is it something which is weird in my situation, or
No, no,
what
no.
is the status quo?
I think there's a correlation between the size of the enterprise and this effect that you described. I yeah, it's more political. The more big the enterprise or the corporate is. So let's say if there are meeting two nerds at a university and they say, okay, let's do a startup. We have a common idea. Let's hustle on it or work on it and achieve something. Then maybe they find the third person, maybe the fourth and the fifth person with a similar mindset, but sooner or later it also turns a little bit political. And I experienced startups where the youngest team members tried to be political, but they didn't have a clue how to do that right. And if you're looking at let's say for 200 years existing German big DAX listed enterprise, there the management is used to play political, and they don't have a product or the outcome in mind. It's more like politics. And you pointed out Stoic philosophy or Stoic culture. Maybe you know also the Machiavelli from the mid-age or not mid-age. I think it's the times when Louis XIV was king in France, and so everybody at his palais was playing roles and acting in order to achieve something. And there are these parallels that you find in the big corporate structures nowadays. And it's absolutely like copied, and it existed for centuries, and let's see how it will develop in the future. But I think the younger generations nowadays are more open, more looking for a sense for behind the work, and not only taking the commands and fulfilling it, and at the end of the month getting the paycheck.
I think, yeah, I agree. So I never thought about that, actually, that this is based on the Machiavelli approach, but there's a truth to it. So yeah. the main difference. So many people think that it's very related, like the Stoicism and the Machiavelli approach or Machiavelli thinking. It's actually not. So one is about the outcomes, and one is about self-control. Yeah. So basically, control the outcome and control yourself. And the Stoic actually says you can't control the outcome. That's Stoicism. So it's very realistic with, you can try to influence, you can sway outcomes, and there you can, if you think it's right, you can put time and energy into. But most people, we think we can control, we can't, and that's a waste of energy. And that leads to a form of ownership. So we think about what we should do, and instead of just pushing into it and saying, I just do it right now because it's my job. That's a typical sign when people say, I have a 9-to-5 job, and I'm staying there until 5, even though my job is done today. I'm staying there, disciplined, which is not discipline. This is just you obeying some orders which were never given, right? But it is like expected of you to stay there. Of course, you could do things, and I even know from the past that when I talk to other business partners or other people, let's say I was working with, and they said that if there's half an hour left, right, you can take a broom and just broom everything, and you can just clean up things and these kind of things. So it's a little bit like there is this mentality that you need to stay here until 5 o'clock, and then you wait 5 or 10 more minutes that it looks nice, and that you're not in a hurry, and then you slowly go, so that everyone have the feeling that we have done our job properly, and then we can go home.
But
And that is, oh, I can't stand that.
But the safest way is to wait until your boss's leave has left.
I had a boss once, one of the first ones I had, and he took it was in a print house. So I started in the printing industry, and he had a black sheet of paper, so a printed black sheet of paper. He took that one with him, and he made that joke to everyone, but it wasn't actually a joke. He went to the people and said, "Look out of the window," and he took that one and put it on the window, and everyone was looking. And then he said, "Look, when the color of the sky looks like this paper, you can go home."
Oh.
And then he handed out papers and went away. And you know what? Most people waited until they took it as an order. I just went away. He never said something about that. But there were people, mostly older generation people, who were so used to it, do that they thought it was a thing of an announcement that we need to make overhours today. But it was just a joke of him, but people obeyed. People didn't question. And maybe they wanted to question, but they didn't dare.
Yeah.
I hated that industry. I really hated it.
But this is maybe also an answer of the basic question for today: how authentic can you be, or should you be?
That was
maybe he was too authentic in doing this joke and didn't realize that some of his employees are taking it for serious, and so it's a little bit like a walk on a razor's edge from time to time. So I think you should always take a little bit of safety area, not offending anybody, or also if you see that if he had seen this joke and somebody's waiting until it's dark night to leave the company, then he should be man enough to come in the next morning and say, "Oh, sorry, it was a joke. It wasn't expected. So sorry for that. Please take my apologies, and I won't do that again." And
at least not with a black piece of shit. Maybe a more purple bluish one, right? So you can go earlier, or grayish one if we have.
If you imagine that everybody's comparing the sky and and the paper, or the color of the paper he showed, so you won't get productive in any case. And it's not about doing 9 to 5 or waiting of the color outside the window or whatever. I think it's having the same goal, having the same vision, working on it, pulling in the right or in the same direction, and also helping each other. And this is also authentic for a team leader, that he maybe states, I need some help because I can't do everything. I'm willing to stay till 10 p.m. But even if I stay till 10 p.m., I won't finish all my tasks. So if anybody can help me with this and that, then it's also fine to be so open and transparent.
I needed to learn as well that I can admit that I have overestimated my own skills and underestimated the work.
Yeah,
pretty common thing, I think. especially in software development is. But when you are let's say, an entrepreneurial person, when you are a software developer at the same time, and doing many things and having the responsibility for employees, then that counts even more. And it took a long time for me to accept, first of all, that that grief, you had the grief about that, so you realized that, but you had that mask on. It wasn't authentic, so I was acting like I had it still in control, even though I was deeply depressed sometimes, that things overwhelmed me. So burnout is losing control, actually. So the consequence of that for a longer period of time. And I was often close to the situation of a burnout in my life. And that was mainly because I wasn't real about my situation. I wasn't able to accept that I promised too much. I didn't care too much about thinking if that is realistic or not, and that I couldn't speak up about them. So that's one of the reasons for the people who are tech driven, is why I always push towards continuous delivery, to that approach, because that removes a lot of these kind of planning promises games. You just do every day what you can, and that's good. That makes more sense to define packages and try to deliver the packages on time. Much more sense, in my opinion. That changed the life for me, because I'm not very compatible, or was not very compatible with that. And one of the reasons was that I didn't dare. And authenticity, that there, I would say that as a leadership person, especially, requires a little bit of being not afraid to be like you are in the professional sense, because it is very much about your own mistakes. It's about your own shortcomings. It's about your own development, showing that you develop yourself, showing that you need to learn the kind of things, showing and admitting that you are not the best here. It is not about, the typical problem of the team lead is, team leads often think, I need to be the best of the team, which is not the case. No one hires you because you could be the best of the team without being the team lead. So that is not the intention of you being the team lead. It is like, be the best at leading the team. That's the only space where you should outperform the others. Would make sense. And in all other aspects, you should have your specialists who are better than you. It's a little bit like, I remember when I first led teams, I tried to, we had mixed teams always, like front end, back end people, like the people working with databases and people working with the actual visual elements. And I had at the very beginning a leaning towards the so-called full stack approach. So I did everything. And then I went more and more towards the front end, because it was more product facing, it was more client facing, and I had a lot of interfacing there. And I had the tendency to still discuss with the backend people and try to dominate them in the decisions. That was a bad mistake. I wasn't proud. This is what I meant with Restream. It's a little bit of an issue right now with the studio, but anyway. So that dominance I tried to keep up was a form of masking. So I didn't want to. I had a mask that I was still that kind of developer who is in that, even though I was becoming more and more insecure about things, because I wasn't confident anymore in that backend space or infrastructure space or database space, because I wasn't practicing it all day long anymore. So I was relying on my past confidence, on my past experience, and I couldn't let off that. I thought I need to be still the best person in town here. I was so absolutely wrong, because I was for quite a long time, because I was the most senior person. I had a lot of younger people. It's not like I was thinking that it was simply younger people and me. So there was quite of a difference there in the very beginning. And that was bad. And I learned that to that time, that you need to let off. That took me many, many years to actually master that. Today I can do that. And to understand that, hey, try to get the backend people to to outperform you like you were in the past, and really push them to become the best version of themselves and tell you how to do things right. Because if you have only people who can tell what is right, you will get the best results. That's the idea of that. And that is actually authentic. Because why is that authentic? You sit in a team and say, my personal wish is that this team becomes great. That is a personal thing, a personal form of authenticity. And just say become better than me in that kind of things. Please do that. That would be a form that simply admits that I don't want that for myself as a requirement to be better than you. I don't care. You should be better than me. That's actually a requirement. And I think if you turn it that way, so to become that person, that leader who supports others, you become automatically a more authentic person, because you need to be genuine, you need to be honest, you need to be truth-seeking in that moment, to a degree that you cannot put up, let's say, hurdles and lies and facades everywhere. You can't do that. It must be genuine for everyone. Otherwise, others can't do that for others. So, for example, if you then have a team, so you are the team lead, and you have a team of a senior backend engineer and a junior engineer, you expect that the senior engineer is acting like that as well. You are the role model in that moment, how it should be. This is the cultural blueprint, right? So if you are the wrong blueprint for the culture, what do you actually expect what a culture shall grow? It's just a culture of conflict, of conflicting interests.
Yeah. I think there's one more aspect in this. So if you are leading, if you have a leading position and you are also working on the daily business, you have to divide or sort out your time, and you have to do calendar blocks where you do leadership topics and not working on daily business, coding software or engineering vehicles or whatever, doing balance sheets or it doesn't matter. In German, there's a word called Spielertrainer, so a combination of player and coach. And what happens if going to handball or soccer or whatever, if the coach is part of the team and also a player, he never has this complete overview. He doesn't have this perspective from outside the field. And he will not be able to analyze everything absolutely neutral, because he's part of this mechanism of this playing team, and this can happen similar in leadership and combination with other topics. But by the way, are there any questions from the audience?
No, not today.
No, not yet. Okay.
But a lot of people listening.
Yeah, great. Yeah, but I think this were some perspectives in authenticity, also touching other topics in leadership and company work or company life. It's always more than one gear wheel. It has to fit all to each other. The culture has to fit to the working model, and if everything fits, then it's also easier for a leader to be authentic. But I think the most beneficial recommendation is to be as true as your identity is, and you have to work on your identity and not only on your methods, how you lead. So if feeling that you are the responsible person for your team. That's the basic first step, and then you can build on that and being authentic. And I think it has to be mentioned also that leadership is a kind of methodology, or combined with experience and doing and training in daily life or training on the job. It's not a talent. You can learn it if you're willing to work on yourself, and if you're willing to improve yourself, and also reflect yourself, and be very true to yourself, and not playing this role against yourself. So if you are looking into the mirror and say, "Hey, great day, everything perfect," the mirror should ask you, "Are you serious, or are you authentic, or are you playing a role at the moment?"
That last sentence you just said is, I think, one of the rule of thumbs you should, or tape it to your monitor. Actually, it's a little bit like, are you that person or not? Right? It's a little bit like, do you wear that mask or not?
Yeah.
Are you yourself or not? Is it like, who do you want to be today? So for my wrap up today is like, I'm often talking about the mirror book, which is a form of journaling I do. I practice that, I teach that. And one of the aspects is you define every morning who you want to be today. That's part of the Stoic morning, actually. So, but I'm, using the same technique in that book. So you actually write it down. And the reason why you write it down is you manifest it. You manifest that you want to be that kind of person. And if you struggle with exactly what we've talked about today, with your authenticity, with being honest, with wearing a mask, even though you don't want to wear a mask, write it down that you don't want to do this. Write down, even if you're starting out and you are not that experienced with that one, or you're insecure, write it down in a sense that you really say that I will face these persons today. You already know that. And if this happens, I will do it like this. If this happens, I will do it like this. What you do in that moment, you override your nervous system, you override your subconscious mind, and you tell it, I am in charge. That's actually possible. You can do that. If you don't do that, well, you will be hit by that situation unprepared. That's everything about that. And since you aren't you don't have credits built up in your own self-credibility, in your own discipline. So you won't react in that moment like a disciplined person, like I want to be better in that moment person. So, and what you can do in order to fortify yourself for that situation is to write it down in the morning, and then in the evening, read that again and say, what actually happened. So you reflect about the situation which happened, and then you take a look at your commitments and say, how have I actually reacted, and rate them. And if you do that, you will see that you make progress pretty quick without the help of someone else, which brings you in the situation that you actually can start to become, or start to the journey. In my opinion, that is pre-journey. If you don't do that, you aren't able to really start the leadership journey. That's one of the issues. This is in my last stream. I've discussed that quite a lot, a long time, or for a long period of time in that stream. It's there is a requirement for yourself. You need to unblock yourself before you actually can go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Just wanted to say that. Good.
Yeah, great.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. We had 100 people on Substack today, several on LinkedIn, some on Twitch, but Twitch, we have a problem with the bitrate right now. We need to fix it, because otherwise Twitch doesn't show us too many people. I need to fix that. And YouTube, of course. Thanks a lot for everyone. As always, feel free to contact us on LinkedIn, on Substack. And we are always happy to help, always happy to talk about things, and always willing to share content, which we do basically daily. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kai. And see you next week.
Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, everybody who joined. And yeah, look